And we are nearing the end of Unit 6 already, 5th graders. Today in 611, we are dividing decimals by whole numbers. Not my whole numbers, by whole numbers. So imagine that we have 4 siblings who bought their parents an anniversary gift. How sweet of those kiddos. That cost $84.12, including tax. If they split the cost equally, how much did each sibling pay? Siblings are brothers and sisters. Well, if I just estimate really quick, let's say it took $80 and divided by 4 kids. They should each pay a little bit more than $20. So I'm going to go ahead and just divide without the decimal to begin with. And I'm going to say 4 goes into 8 twice, right? Multiply. Bring down your 4. How many 4s are in 4? There's 1, and 4 times 1 is 4. Bring down your 1. How many 4s are there in 1? 0. Don't forget to do that step. You can't bring down 2 numbers without multiplying and subtracting and bringing down. And how many 4s are in 12? 3. Okay, now where would they don't know $2,103. Where would the decimal go so that it's about $20? $21.03. Let's go ahead and move to our math journal, page 224. The directions on page 224 read, for problems 1 and 2, write a number model, make an estimate, write a number sentence to record your estimate, divide as if the dividend were a whole number. If there is a remainder, write it as a fraction and use it to round the quotient to the nearest whole number. Use your estimate to place the decimal point and record your answer. So let's begin with number 1. 3 sisters set up a lemonade stand, and Wednesday they made $8.46. If they share the money equally, how much will each sister get? Let's take $8.46 divided by 3 sisters to get L for lemonade. So if I estimate $8.46 is close, or $8.46 is close to 8, 3 is closest to 4, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. They each should get about $2. So let's go ahead and divide. I'm going to use traditional method. 3 goes into 8 2 times. Remember, does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. Okay. 3 times 2 is 6. Then I subtract. I check 2 is smaller than my divisor of 3. So I bring down the 4. How many times does 3 go into 24? Goes in there 8 times. Then I multiply. 8 times 3 is 24. Subtract, and yes, 0 is smaller than 3. Bring down my 6. How many 3s are there in 6? There are 2. 3 times 2 is 6. And there's no other number to bring down. So where would I put the decimal point to make my answer closest to $2? They'll each get $2.82. Be great if they got $282, but that's not going to happen most likely. Number 2, Janine is building a bookshelf. She has a board that is 6 7/77 meters long. She wants to cut into 5 pieces of equal length. How long will each piece be? So I'm going to take 6 7/77 and divide into 5 equal parts to get B for bookshelf. To make this really easy, I'm just going to say 6 7/77 is closest to 5, And 5 divided into 5 gives about a foot or a meter long for each section. So I'm going to take 677. I'm just going to ignore the decimal point for right now. I know my answer should be close to 1. I'm going to divide that by 5, but today I'm going to do partial quotients for this one. So don't start with 10. You'll be here forever, but we can do 100 times because 5 times 100 is 500. Can it go in there another 100 times? No. So how about 20 times? 20 times 5 is 100. That works. Go ahead and subtract. Let's do it 10 times. 10 times 5 is 50. And now, can it go in there 10 times again? No. So this is when it becomes a basic fact. It goes in there 5 times, which is 25. Our remainder is 2. So I add these all up. 100 plus 20 is 120, plus 10 is 100, 135. And we'll have a little bit longer than that, but we just want something that's close. So where would I put the decimal in 135 so it's closest to 1? 1 and 35 hundredths meters long. We had a remainder of 2, but remember, we're is about. All right, continuing on, we're moving on to Math Journal, page 225. For problems 3 through 6, make an estimate, write a number sentence to record your estimate, divide as if the dividend were a whole number, show your work on the computation grid. If there's a remainder, write as a fraction, use it to round the quotient to the nearest whole number, use your estimate to place the decimal point. Same thing. All right, 9 and 44 hundredths divided by 4. I'm just going to say 10 divided by 5, which is 2. So now just go ahead and write 9 and 44 hundredths divided by 4. I'm going to use traditional division here. How many 4s are there? 9. There's 2. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, check it, make sure it's smaller than the divisor, and bring down. So 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. 1 is smaller than 4, bring down the 4. How many 4s are there in 14? There's 3, so go ahead and multiply then. 3 times 4 is 12. Now subtract. 2, yep. 2 is smaller than my divisor, 4. Then I bring down my 4. How many 4s are there in 24? And there's 6. 6 times 4 is 24. As you can tell, it really helps when you know those facts and know them quickly. So where do I put my decimal point in 236 so that my answer is closest to 2? 2 and 36 hundredths. Number 4, my estimate, 46 and 8 tenths is closest to 50. 12 is closest to 10. And these two zeros cancel out each other. So 5 divided by 1 is 5, or 50 divided by 10 is 5. And now I'm going to solve. Act as if the decimal point's not there for right now. I'm going to use partial quotients. Are there at least 10 12s in 468? You bet there is. 12 times 10 is 120. I bet it can go in there 20 times. It's easy to multiply by 2 because you just double 24. Or excuse me, double 12 to get 24. That way I don't have to do as many times for this problem. 8 minus 0 is 8. Can it go in there 10 more times? Well, 10 times 12 is 120, and I'm left with 108. So now it becomes a basic fact. So look across your 12s. If you are not confident with your 12s yet, how many 12s are there in 108? There's 9. 9 times 12 is 108. Exactly. So now I'm just going to add up these numbers on the side. 10 plus 20 is 30, plus 9 is 39. And where would I put my decimal point so the answer is closest to 5? 3 and 9/10. Number 5, 89 and 9/10 divided by 4. 89 and 9/10 closest to 100, and I can easily divide 100 into 4 equal parts, which would be 25. Do you see this little symbol right here? It looks like it equals, but it has a wave to it. It means approximately. Notice how that's different from up here. That number divided evenly. These will be approximately. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put 8, 9, 9, and divide that by 4. I'm going to use traditional division. Does McDonald's sell cheeseburgers? Divide, multiply, subtract, check, and bring down. How many 4s are there in 8? There's 2. Then multiply. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract. Yep, 0 smaller than 4. Bring down your 9. Then you ask yourselves, how many 4s? How many 4s are in 9? And there's 2 of them. Go ahead and multiply. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. Yep, 1 is smaller than 4, so I can bring down my 9. How many 4s are there in 9? 19, excuse me. 4. And 4 times 4 is 16. My remainder is smaller than my divisor. So, my remainder is 3/4. So I'm going to round this to the nearest whole number. So it's closer to 225 than it is 224. So where am I going to put my decimal point so that my answer is closest to 25? It's approximately 22 and 5/10. Put it right between the 2 and the 5. And lastly, number 6, 253 and 7/10 divided by 6. I'm going to make this 250, and I'm going to make 6 into a 5 because I can easily divide that in my head. 25 divided by 5 is 5 with 1 0. My answer should be close to 50. Let's take 253 and 7/10. Don't worry about putting in the decimal. I'm going to use partial quotients, but if you want to use traditional division, you sure can. Okay, let's see. How many times should it go in there? What about 400 times? 6 times 4 is 24, with 1, 2 zeros behind. I wouldn't want to start off with 10s, or I would take 3 pages of paper to complete it. Go ahead and subtract. Can it go in there 10 times? Sure can. 6 times 10 is 60. Go ahead and subtract. Can it go in there 10 more times? Well, sure, because 10 times 6 is 60, and we have 77 left here. Go ahead and subtract. Can it go in there 10 more times? Well, it can't because there's only 17 left, so it's a basic fact. How many 6s are in 17? Well, 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 3 is 18. That's too many, so it goes in there twice. 6 times 2 is 12. And my remainder is smaller than my divisor of 6. So add these up. 400 plus 10 plus 10 plus 2 is 422 and 5/6. The remainder goes on the top. The divisor goes on the bottom. So 422 and 5/6 is closer to 423. So where would I put my decimal point so that my answer is closest to 50? I would put it between the 2 and the 3 to get 42 and 3/10. Remember, approximately. All right, take a picture and upload to Schoology.